Afternoon Talk on SAFM.
Tell you what, I certainly enjoy the fact that many of you do email me with suggestions in terms of who we should be talking to. So continue with that. Who else should I be putting in the spotlight? Just email to Ashraf, spelled ASHRAF, Ashraf at SAFM.co. And I can tell you now, as I'm seated across Advocate Thuli Madonsela, that if we had like 100 people suggesting names, probably at least 70 have put on your name to say, please get Thuli Madonsela, the public protector, into the studio in the spotlight. So what I'm trying to say is, in a popularity contest, you probably get first prize at the moment.
Oh my goodness.
How do you feel about it? I mean, you're very well liked, you know that.
Well, it's quite humbling. The truth is, in the work we do, we don't aim to be liked. We aim to be just, fair, and we aim to tell the truth. If that resonates with the people of South Africa, that is amazing for us, because we try to serve in the best way we can.
Now, I know I attended the Drum Magazine Awards when I met up with you, and there were many famous names at an entertainment function, the birthday celebration. But the biggest cheer, and you know this, the biggest cheer was for yourself. There was no question about it. The biggest cheer, and there were some luminaries there, the biggest cheer was for yourself.
Well, that was quite humbling. But just firstly to say thank you for the opportunity to engage on your show, and thank you to the listeners.
Well, it's a pleasure. Let me also throw the lines open. You want to call in. As you know, in the spotlight, it's very much a trip down, the life of my guests. So we'll find out exactly what Advocate Thuli Madonsela is all about, besides the public persona that we know about. 0891 104207. SMSs to 34701. I'll also read through some of those Facebook comments that are already posted. Just like my page, which allows you to do that. And if you are tweeting Ashraf Garda one, also use the hashtag SAFM, which allows us to see, in fact, the kind of questions that you want to have asked. Let's talk about today. You've had a pretty hectic day. What did you do today?
I went to a place in Soweto, or Dobsonville, which is called, it's actually a place that is named after a struggle hero, Bram Fischer. So it's called Bram Fischerville. We went there at the invitation of a journalist from BBC, who had been asked by the people to get me to go there. On Saturday the 17th was the first time. They wanted to lodge a complaint, but they wanted me to also see the exact conditions under which they were living, so that I could really visualize what exactly was the problem, the sewage problem and the water problem. So today we went with engineers, a health specialist, to look at those that said they were sick, and other people to make sense of the problem.
Isn't that interesting? I mean, I would not think maybe 5 or 10 years ago, if people had a problem, they would say, please get the public protector here to help us. I mean, do you sense this change? I mean, normally it would be get the local councillor, the ward councillor, get the premier of Gauteng, or whoever it may well be, and here they're saying, get the public protector. We need to get her to see and to help us with our problem.
A whole lot of people have actually called on the public protector. There was a community called Nandoni, where a dam was built by government when it was still Advocate Lawrence Mushwana, and the dam, people were dying there. They called the public protector, who investigated and made sure that, and found that government had not properly consulted, and ensured that people got compensation, and also ensured that in the findings that the dam was properly circled. So I came in just after the report was issued, and mine was just to make sure that it was being implemented. You're right, though, that there's more people that know about the office today. Yes.
Why is that? Is that because of you?
Not necessarily. I think which also what we've done as an office now is a two-pronged approach to the constitutional mandate. Our mandate, the second part of our mandate, is report still there in the constitution, is that we must be accessible to all persons and communities. So because of that mandate, then we're a little bit more aggressive in taking every available opportunity to inform people about the work of the office and to bring it closer to all communities.
Now, I would say that at the moment, yourself, Advocate Thuli Madonsela, is Well, you just won this sort of joint Newsmaker of the Year. We'll talk about who you shared it with in a second. What do you feel about it being, and that scores for the National Press Club, right? Newsmaker of the Year. Well, I should say you're sharing it with Julius Malema, which is interesting. But let's talk about what does it mean for you?
As I said on Friday, I'm not quite sure what it means. Whether just as an award in itself, it really is about having been mentioned in the news a lot of times. But for me, I thought it means a lot if it means that the issues that my office deals with, we covered frequently. So I don't see it much as an achievement for me. I just see it as an opportunity and in a platform for more dialogue about what the office
but
can
it certainly
do.
does sort of mean that yourself and by extension your office is now more in the news than just about anything else in the country.
Certainly.
Jointly with Julius Malema, sort of you're vying for news space.
Certainly, but we don't really want to be in the news for the sake of being in the news. We want to be in the news as an institution that seeks accountability in the exercise of public power, and an office that ensures that there's justice when people have been wronged by government. So we don't want to be in the news just for the sake of being news, and we want to be in the news by saying those things that we really mean and those things that really are at the core of the office.
How did you feel about sharing it with Julius Malema? Pictures of two of you together. Somebody called it a Jekyll and Hyde situation.
Well, I think Mr. Malema is a fellow South African, so I think it was just it was wonderful to share it with him. Obviously, we both got it for different reasons, but I can't say I'm a better human being than him. I can only say I occupy the space I've been given to the best of my ability, and I want to assume he also does the same.
I presume you sat on the same table. What did you guys discuss about the award?
A whole lot of things, actually. Well, not much about the award, but we just discuss a whole lot of things about the whole question of public power needing to be exercised for the people.
Okay, and he did say something like, are you investigating me?
Well, it was obvious he knows that I'm
Of
investigating him, but during the private conversation, he didn't mention my investigation. He just told me that he's going to bring in a request for me to investigate someone else who he believes is abusing state power.
Okay, that's fascinating indeed. Right. 0891104207. I'll get to the calls in just a second. The Public Protector, Thuli Madonsela, is my guest. She's in the spotlight. I'll run through Richard and ZD in just 1 second. Some of the comments via Facebook comment. Azola Key saying, I have great respect for that lady as I'm inspired by her outstanding work. Let's just see, there's a couple more I can actually read, in fact. Okay, I'll get to some of the others in just a second. Richard in Cape Town, let's start with you. Hi.
Hi. I want to ask the Public Protector, for 2 years now,
give me 1 second.
to your office.
Richard, give me 1 second. I need to get the headphones on for the Public Protector. Hold on 1 second, okay? All right, you can go ahead now. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. For 2 years now, I've been reporting a major case of corruption and fraud involving literally millions, if not tens of millions of rands to your office. Now, I've got almost absolutely nowhere. I have phoned, and I was told that an advocate in your office had the file and would get back to me. Now, that was in 2011, and now we're almost well into 2012. I want to ask if you won't take this matter over personally and look into it for me, because I'm very, very distressed at the delay.
Okay, go for it, yeah. Stay on the line just a second.
Thanks a million, Richard. In fact, that's precisely what I want. Obviously, the goal in my office is to have excellent service at every point, every day, regardless of who you're dealing with. But when you feel that our service has failed you, it's always a pleasure to take it personally. So if you can indicate to me what the case, your surname, I will make sure that I get the case. We then designate it a special attention matter, and therefore it will be handled either in my office or still by the supervisor, but under my direct supervision.
All right. The surname is Benson, Benson.
R. Benson.
So Richard Benson, yeah?
Yes.
And the initials are CR.
Oh, C.R. Benson. Okay.
That's right.
All right. Good stuff. Thanks for your call, eh?
Thank you.
Right. Okay, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll take 3-4 calls in one go. I certainly want to ask Advocate Thuli Madonsela lots more things about herself, including just what do you think about your own personality? But we'll talk about that in a second. ZD in KZN. Hi.
Hi to you, Ashraf, and good afternoon to you, to the lovely lady out there. I must say I admire her for the courage. I admire her for standing up at all times. And when a gift was awarded to her, she was not so interested in the gift. She was more interested in helping the public. And she's one of the ladies that is the most trustable. And I like to get in contact with her because I have a major water problem that's coming and a major problem with water that's gushing into my property. And I'm waiting for 7 years for the Itiquette municipality to help me solve the problem. I've been going from pillar to post, but I've been not assisted. I even went to the public protector's office. Even when I had other problems, I went to the public protector in Durban, and they all worked for Itiquette municipality and not for the public. And she's one lady who stands up for the public. Well done to you. And well done for being so trustable. How can I contact you?
Okay. Go
Wonderful. I'm sorry that our office did not help you in any way. Thank you for the positive feedback. You can contact me directly at 012-766-7108. That's my private office.
Sorry, my
All right, I'm going to repeat that number in just a second.
012?
Yeah.
012?
So, 012-366-7108.
108.
Yes.
Okay, so 012-366-7108. Thanks for that call, ZD.
You're welcome.
All right, okay, let's get to Mashali in Joburg. Hi, Mashali.
Ashraf, how are you doing?
I'm good, man. Good. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Advocate.
Good afternoon, sir.
How are you doing?
I'm great. And how are you?
I'm very happy to talk to you. Ms. Madonsela, for me, I don't have much to say, but I just appreciate the work that we are doing. In South Africa, to me, looking at you, you are one of the best examples. And the unfortunate part of it, or the fortunate part of it, you excel even to more than most men that are leading us. But thank you very much for the work, the job well done. But you are the best. Thank you.
Okay, nice, lovely call. I mean, let's talk about that. And I made that point, and I want to sort of find out more about you because you honestly are so well liked. And I made the point about the Drum magazine. Last night I emceed the Prism PR Awards, and again I made the point that you were the joint newsmaker. And again, this huge cheer for yourself in your absence. Okay, so you genuinely are very well liked. Talk to me about your personality, because we see the public persona, we see this person in very measured tones, and we don't know too much about what else you're all about, and you're smiling as I talk to you.
Well, it's difficult, Ashraf, to speak about my personality. Well, what you see is what you get, but it's not really, I wouldn't say that I don't get to a situation where I don't take a very firm tone. When service fails and really I feel that there was a better way, I do take quite a tough tone with my staff. Although, fortunately though, I do have a group of people that are very dedicated to their work. They've always been dedicated and they see their work as a call.
But you probably are a very good manager, right?
I try, but you can never say you're a good manager. Management and leadership is a journey. Every day you learn something new, but you have to be constantly looking at yourself in terms of what results are you trying to achieve, and therefore how do you generate those
Let's
results.
talk then about your leadership style. I mean, what can you tell us about it? And I think as I talk to you, people are probably making notes anyway to say we're going to learn from you.
Well, I would say that my style is sort of situational. It depends on each situation. Most of the times I lead from behind. I do try to get the team to lead, to do whatever they
as
think
opposed
they
to
want
lead
do.
from the front.
Yeah, I don't lead from the front. But from where I am, though, I'm always guiding the team, and I'm always guided by the team when necessary, because I work with lawyers who have as much experience as I do. Obviously, the buck stops with me, but that doesn't mean I know everything. So I just listen carefully. Ultimately, obviously, I guide so that I make sure that the ultimate result that we get is one that I can personally take responsibility of and as my own.
And in terms of your character, what for you are your greatest strengths and maybe your weaknesses as well? We'd love to know.
Perhaps I'll start with my weakness. Is that I think my weakness is I really resented, if I must say, if somebody is treated badly, even with my team, when I feel that a member of the public could have gotten better, I do take a very firm tone. So it is.
And you're calling that a weakness? Somebody said that's probably your greatest strength. You have empathy.
Well, it is empathy, but if you're on the receiving end of it, it's not always. But I have to be careful that when that happens, I think over time I've learned that I have to listen to my investigator carefully and firstly just walk in his or her shoes to find out why did service fail. Because most of the people we deal with are people who are desperate. So if somebody comes to me, like these special attention matters, the ones that and somebody says, I haven't received any feedback for the last 4 months, and my pension is outstanding, or my ID is outstanding, or my permit, whatever permit is outstanding, I do get really, really a bit edgy.
So you take it personally?
I do, because I always say, one of the phrases I always say, if the shoe was on the other foot, how would you deal with it? How would you deal with it if it was a grandmother? But it's not, I'm just saying, it's not, this is not something that occurs all the time, but on those infrequent times when it happens, it's one too many, because you think about it and say, what if it was me? What kind of investigator would I want to deal with my case?
Okay, I'm going to get to the other calls in just a second. Eddie, Kurt, Lucky, as well as Chris, stay on the line. My guest is the advocate Thuli Madonsela, the public protector. She's in the spotlight. I'll also read some of the other emails, in fact, Facebook comments as well. But I need to get to the strengths, because we spoke about the weaknesses, which really are the strengths to me. What are your strengths?
My strength is that I don't get easily worked up. I'm able to handle pressure. Secondly, I think because when I was younger, I also was quite articulate and quite sometimes challenging of authority. I don't get freaked out when a young person or a member of staff, is very articulate. I just listen. And I think my other strength is that I would never make a decision because I don't like you. I would never. My decisions are always based on what I really think is right.
So never a decision in anger, then, that means? I mean, you'd certainly take a step back completely.
Yes. Yeah, that's one thing that, yes, I can.
And how do you do that when most people obviously can't do it?
I think that one probably comes just naturally. I don't know. Probably it's my upbringing. I don't know. But it's also consciousness, self-consciousness, always being aware of what am I brought up to decide. For example, if you have to promote somebody, are you going to promote the person who is the best, most suitable person, or are you going to promote the one who's nice to you? To make a decision that is really objective and for the greater good, rather than to make a decision because you want somebody who will massage you.
Okay, there's a couple of SMSs saying, Thuli for president, by the way. I just thought I'll pick it up and repeat it. Let's get to the callers. Chris in Potch, hi.
Hi, Ashraf, how are you?
I'm very good, man. Go for it.
All right. I must say, I'm honest with the advocate, is that when she was appointed, I was skeptical, and I thought, they just putting someone, they'll manipulate, but I see now I got it wrong. And the other thing, I live here on the South Coast, and we got, this farm reposition and giving people their land back. I don't know if you can do this. We've got a farm here, and the thing, it was returned back to the people. We're supposed to be running a farm, but nothing seems to be going all right in the farm. We go in the meetings, and nothing is being, you put suggestions. but your suggestions are not being listened to. But it's just that I don't think it's going anywhere. I don't know if she can intervene, and but because one of the first of the things there is that they put this guy, they call him a farm manager. He's never received any training. He's never been to any school. He's not even doing anything with farming. So I don't think we can expect much from him. The problem is, I mean, the people, they always think that putting the committees, they've been changing committees forever, but nothing is getting done. And I've told them in a meeting that what we need to do is to change the farm manager.
Okay, Chris, let's get a response.
Farm, not the committee.
Chris, thanks so much for that. Okay, Advocate Madonsela?
Thank you, Chris, for that. If you do allege that the manager has been involved in any form of maladministration, or the appointment of the manager by government involved maladministration, I could get involved. But we're careful not to get involved in micromanaging organizations. In a case like this, we would really go back to government to look at what is their own framework, empowerment framework, and oversight framework. Because I suspect that the management of a farm by a community is no longer within my jurisdiction. The jurisdiction of the public protector is about conduct and state affairs. So it should be within the state, a parastatal or an entity that is funded by the state, or an entity that is regulated in terms of the Public Finance Management Act or the Municipal Finance Management Act.
Okay, let's get to some of the other callers as well. Let's get to Lucky in Centurion. Hi.
Hi, Ashraf.
Yeah, Lucky, go for it.
Hi, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Lucky.
Yeah, you know, Ashraf, I was actually talking to my wife the other day.
Hey?
I was talking to my wife the other day.
Yes.
And I said, you know, that lady has got the most beautiful and a sweet way of conversing. I can actually listen to her the whole day, just because of the way she talks, you know.
Well, you've just told her. What did your wife say?
Hey?
What did your wife say?
My wife was actually saying, wow, she's got the sweetest voice ever.
Nice call, Lucky. Let's talk about that very quickly. I mean, I've sort of heard you in public, and some say critically, or rather complimentary way, that exactly what he said, that you've got this lovely measured tone, lovely smooth voice, we can listen to you all the time, it's always musical. Some say rather critically that Advocate Madonsela doesn't really stoke up the fires when she's talking. She's not a Winnie Mandela, and she's not that type of person. She's not a President Zuma. And I'm not saying, we're not talking about the content, just the style and the mannerism. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, that's quite interesting. Firstly, with Lucky, you've got a lovely wife who's prepared to listen to that. But on how I speak, I think for me, the measured tones is something that I feel that it works for me. It comes naturally. And I believe that the message sinks better when you're not screaming and... but at the same time, they are criticism. And if you're talking about those who feel that the measured tones is a bit monotonous, my children are my worst critics.
Do they tell you that you sort of monotoned? Or?
Yes, they really think that they would prefer passion, where you talk like you're preaching. Sometimes go high.
Can you do
sometimes
that?
You go
can
low,
you do that?
Etc. I think often when I'm like trying to motivate my staff about, justice, Gogo Dlamini, what happened, what normally happens when I've heard these horror stories, a few, not a lot, where the complainant comes and tells me what happened to him or her under our guard. When I go back to the team, I would be more passionate and just try to drive the point home that, it shouldn't have happened. Because I know that we're good people and we want to do good. And those lapses, even if they're few, they're too much for the one person who's affected. So, in those instances, the tone...
Right, so there is a more passionate side, if I can call it that, in terms of the way the Advocate Thuli Madonsela, the public protector, in fact talks.
Afternoon Talk on SAFM.
All Now, there are some questions to the public protector of a very general nature. I won't necessarily respond to those. Some, I think it's called Man. I hope I've got it right. Afternoon Talk. The lady on your show is truly amazing. She is really humble. Much light to you. And another was saying, hi, Ashraf. Congrats to Advocate Madonsela for the award and inspiring humble leader. And there's another one. I can't quite read it now, but it's earlier on said that, are you married? Which I'm suggesting is a proposal. You want to think about this one?
I'm not married, but I'm not looking.
You're not looking either?
Yes.
And if you were looking, what would you be looking for? All right, you think about that one there as we put the public protector in the spotlight. Let's get to Amy in Joburg. Hi, Amy.
Hi, Ashraf. Hi, Thuli. Do you remember
hi.
Amy?
Amy from where?
Hello,
Hello, Amy.
Amy. You met me in Johannesburg Female Prison in 1998 at a graduation ceremony. Can you remember that?
Oh,
Can
right. Amy, just remind me, graduation ceremony adverts.
of the inmates in Johannesburg Female Prison. We are still working with the late health minister,
Oh, right, yes. Okay. No.
Okay.
Right.
Goodness, your line's horrible, but yeah.
And my father too. Truly, you exceeded my expectations. Actually, I am so pleased with what I see you doing. You are to me an epitome of a woman. That's what a woman should be if she's in a position like you are in now. Usually we like to imitate somebody and it don't come across genuine. I'm so proud of you. I don't know how I can meet you again and speak to you person to person. Because I've been looking for you since 2010, but from last year when you became public protector, you've made me so proud. I wish every woman would just try the utmost best to be themselves. Then they would be like you.
Oh,
and then
goodness.
I would change for the better. I'm not denigrating all men,
All right.
but I'm saying.
Okay. Amy, we need to move on. Amy, we need to move on. Thanks so much for that call. Lovely call. I mean, you get that? I mean, the line was not the clearest, but you got that.
Yes, I did. Amy, thank you. I'm not a saint. I'm a tough boss, and as I said, but I do my best. I think where I agree with you. I do my best, but I think a whole lot of other South Africans do their best. I am fortunate in that I'm in public space and people can see what I'm doing, but I'm still amazed at the ordinary people that I see every day that go beyond the call of duty, including people in the public service. We always complain about maladministration, but every day you meet great human beings who just know that public service is just that. It's public service.
Okay, that's great to know. Right, Eddie in Soweto, hi.
Hello.
Eddie? Yes, Eddie.
Yes, can I speak to Advocate?
She's listening. You can go ahead. Yeah.
Mama Madonsela kunjani?
Ngikhona ninjani?
Sikhona. Maybe I should speak English.
Please do. Yeah.
Is it I know you're very busy. Is it possible that even if you can just give me 5 minutes to come and present my case, my complaint to you any day that you would request, I'll come to your office. Because what has happened is that I have submitted a complaint to your office, and I have got an acknowledgement that it is being handled. But this problem is since 2006. My son was convicted in 2003, and then we appealed, and then the appeal was granted against conviction and sentence in June 2006. Then what happened for the next 2 years, 2007 and 8, the lawyer found out that all the documents are lost, including the tapes. Then he said there's nothing he can do, we must just forget. Then I wrote to the public protector. By then it was still Advocate Ramshwana. And then in 2010, in April, the response, it was that the hearing at the Johannesburg High Court will be heard on the 10th of June 2010. It was heard, and the judges requested that the presiding judge and the advocate must reconstruct the case.
Okay, Eddie, can I do this, Eddie?
For 2 years.
Eddie, can I do this? I mean, obviously you've got a very specific case, right? What I'm going to do, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give out the number once again of the public protector. We'll give out that number and make sure that you can connect with her directly. Can we do that, right?
Will you give me the number after the
I'll definitely do it. I'll definitely before 3:45. Absolutely.
No, I will listen. Yeah.
All right, perfect.
If only Advocate Thuli can give me 5 minutes to put my case through to her,
I
and
will.
maybe she would be able to help.
All right, we'll do that. Thanks for that. Thanks for that call. Okay, let's get to Sig in Randburg. Hi.
Good afternoon. Thank you very, very much for this opportunity to speak to a real hero, and we don't have many of them. You need, when things are seriously, seriously wrong, desperately wrong, when people are crying out for help, like so many of us are, and grievous, enormous threats are upon us, like commissioners of police who are totally corrupt and who get away with it, then it takes a real hero to stand up and face this down. And Thuli Madonsela did that for us. And she did it in the face of personal threats to her own integrity, and I admire her so much for the equanimity with which she faced down the corrupt leadership of at the very top, and I want to thank her very much for that. There are not very many, in fact there are no other people in the country who can do that. So
Okay.
Thank you very much, and thank you for letting me say that. And I'm so glad, Ashraf, that you mentioned that she was so popular among your listenership. It shows you how desperate the country's need is for Thuli Madonselas.
Okay, there you are. Thanks for that. And Sig is right. Sig is often very critical when it comes on the air, so clearly you're somebody that he rates. You're probably the only person, as he said, that you rate very highly. Where are you going to be in the next, what's your plan the next 5 years and the next 10 years?
In 5 years, I'm focusing on having seamless service delivery in my team, and that nobody ever wants to. Nobody should ever ask for me or ask for any of the investigators. People should just be happy whether they go to Piet Retief or Pretoria, etc. That's the focus for us, to make sure that people get service delivery on time, and service delivery is quality service everywhere. The second thing that we're interested in is to make sure that the organs of state that we have touched, they stop having the same problem. So we become a catalyst for change, so that we don't just always come to the rescue, like we went to the rescue in the city of Joburg. We should leave the city of Joburg knowing that people never have to go to the public protector to just get you to come and see the problem that
So problems fixed need to be sustainable, yeah.
Exactly.
There's an SMS we got from someone saying that the best appointment the ANC ever made was getting you as the public protector, and the next thing they should do best is get you as the president of the country. If you were asked by the people, not today, maybe give yourself 5 or 10 years to say, please lead the country from the back, as you've said. Would you?
Never.
What would you say?
Never. Politics, I had an opportunity in 1994. Cosado did nominate me to go to Parliament. I have never had an interest in politics. I think each human being has a purpose in life. I think what I do best, and what I've always done best, is to either advise in terms of what is just and fair in any circumstance, or actually be the one who conciliates, mediates, and ensures that justice is done, or do some research, or do advocacy for justice and human rights. And I'm perfectly happy to do that.
And that's your great strength.
I think that's my strength.
Yeah.
And
Where did
natural.
Where did
It's
that
something I
inspiration
enjoy.
come from? I mean,
Right.
talk to me about your early days, because we've got about 5 minutes to go.
Yes.
Your early days, maybe at school time when you were a young girl. What was your ambition then? I want to become what?
Well, initially I wanted to be a doctor, and but I think in my middle teens I certainly really wanted to be a lawyer, although my parents then didn't have much respect for lawyers, and they thought I could be a social worker or some other thing where they could see somebody doing something. Obviously they didn't know lawyers could be public protectors,
Of course,
judges,
yeah.
and also civil lawyers. And even the criminal lawyer anyway doesn't always defend criminals and defends genuine human beings who are caught up in the criminal justice. So that's what I wanted. But the greatest influence was really my parents. My mom was always somebody who is there to be a voice of reason, to be sort of an informal social worker. And then my father was the spiritual disciplinarian who also was always there collecting all of the Madonselas and the nephews that needed a place to stay. They would always stay. So I think that whole approach that looks after people and do your best. Because I've never really sought to be a public protector. It's always been about where can I make a difference based on what I think I know how to do it. Even this job, I never really thought I could ever be public protector. Some women, South African Women in Dialogue, thought based on what I had been doing in the women's movement, taking up cases, doing free research, they thought I could do that. So I've always just thought with the gifts that I'm being given as a human being, where can I use them best? And I'm fortunate that in this case, it's not me alone who's getting this opportunity. I'm working with a team also that feel that this is a calling.
Yeah. Now,
yes.
Many see you as the public protector, as our mentor, almost like the mentor of the nation, right? But do you have a mentor?
I've had many mentors in my life. My mother, my father. My Mama Sisulu is one of the people I met in the in the 80s when I was still a fairly young girl, and her quiet confidence and a sense of justice, but no noise, but firm, but sound. And making tough decisions whilst looking quiet at the same time was one of the people that had an impact on me. I worked with people like Dennis Davis, Kathy Albertine. I really think there's so many people that have influenced. Yes, in different ways. Different people have taught me different
We've got
skills.
just over a minute. I'm going to rush these things. I mean, who would you want to take out for lunch now? Desperately, and I don't mean family, somebody you've never taken out to lunch before. Who would you love to meet?
It would have to be Nelson Mandela. I know it sounds cliched, but there is one human being that you always ask, how do you turn out like that? How do you go through a system that is very harsh and hard, but you turn out not bitter, and you turn out more concerned about doing justice and about getting justice even for the people that others would expect you to go after them and to harm them.
All right, we often get asked about this very quickly. 3 books you'd like to recommend that we read, if you can remember very quickly.
Jesus CEO, it has nothing about Christianity, it is about leadership.
It's called Jesus?
CEO.
Jesus CEO, all right?
Jesus is a leader. Richest Man Who Ever Lived by John Scott, and Stephen Covey, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Okay. I'll make a note of all 3 and I'll repeat it. I'll tell you what, I need that number once again because we're just about to say goodbye. Your number, your contact number.
012
Right.
366 7108. But also there's a toll-free line, 0800 11 20 40. 0800 11 20 40.
Okay, so 012 366 7108. 0800 11 20 40. Right, last thing in 10 seconds. Give me a quote that you can leave the nation hanging on to for inspiration.
It's from Denzel Washington. Do what you are required to do in order to be given the space to do what you'd like to do.
Indeed. I'm going to remember that indeed. Thuli Madonsela, the public protector, great chatting to you, and thanks for allowing us to put you in the spotlight.
It's been my pleasure, and thank you for the opportunity.
Great. Hopefully we'll do it once again.